you don't see him. Behold your God is to look upon the circumstances surrounding your life.
Yes, yes.
And know that your very existence depends upon the presence of God.
Yes.
Behold your God.
Yes,
look
yes.
inside. Check you out. In all of the circumstances that surround you, look inside. Because if you keep looking outside, it gets worse. Amen. Behold thy God. And then it declares why you should look to God within you, to understand why it's God's province all around you and everywhere at the same time, because it declares the omnipotence of God, and the omnipresence of God, and the omniscience of God. God knows everything. God is everywhere, and he has all power.
Yes.
That's a declaration.
Yes.
Because it goes on to say, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out heaven with a span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance. Look at this statement of the power of God. Who has done what? Measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. Now, all of you know that 3/4 of the earth is water. Same thing follows true in our bodies. A large percentage of our bodies is nothing but water. But signifying how powerful God is, he has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. He's able to hold all of the waters of the earth symbolically in his hand. That is power. Because the waters have power of their own. They use them to flow over Niagara Falls and turn turbines and create electricity. Floods are about to happen, and the earth is having a meltdown on the glaciers, and the water level is rising to the extent, if they're telling the truth and if they know what they're talking about, some of our cities are going to be inundated with water. Water is important. So God has measured with his power the waters that cover the whole earth in his hand, and meted out the heavens in a span of his hand. He can predict all of the space that's in existence. And I'm fascinated with astronomy. Any of you know what a light year is? Well, a light year is the distance that light travels in a year. Now, how do you measure a light year? Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. You all missed that. 186,000 miles in 1 second. So in 60 seconds, a minute is 60 times 186,000. That's a lot, ain't it?
Yes.
Now, times an hour, times a day, times a week, times a month, times a year. The distance light travels in a year, traveling at 186,000 miles a second, is what a light year is. And there are some stars that are over 100 light years from the earth. I know that's infinitesimal. Ain't no sense in even thinking about it. Ain't no way to picture that. It's infinity. And God has measured it with his hand. You know, when you put it like that, folk can't help but say, wow. Wow. From distance here to the sun, distance here to the moon. Flashlight turned on can reach the moon in less than a second.
Yeah.
God measured all of that. And now they're discovering galaxies that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of light years beyond the star that is 100,000 light years away. Way out yonder. Have you ever on a dark night with the stars out there just stopped and looked up or sat in a chair and gazed heavenward?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you've never done so, young or not so young, I plead with you, do it one night. Get you a lawn chair on a real clear night, pick you out a dark spot, and lay back and just glance into the atmosphere. And try to look at the number of stars within a hand span. And they come up from one end of your spectrum all the way to the other. Infinite space. Without measure. There's no way for a human being to measure space.
All right.
He meted out the heavens with the span and comprehended or counted the dust in a measure. Do you know what dust is? It's smaller than sand. You can see a piece of sand, can't you? You can put sand in an hourglass and watch it run down one grain at a time. And dust is microscopic almost to sand. And you can't even tell how much sand there is in one handful. And God has measured this out with no difficulty whatsoever. That's how great God is. Can you get the picture of where I'm going? And he's weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance. In other words, he knows the weight of the mountains, the Alleghenies. He can give you the weight of all the mountains in California, in New York, the Bavarian Alps, Italy.